The Monster-in-Laws, to me, is like the Real Housewives, but with a happy ending. Because there's a resolution.
Yes.
You know, and you know that they're really going to make the effort to try to make it. But I got to ask you, what's the selection process? How do you find these people? Because they're very injured, for lack of a better word.
I think they're very normal. I mean,
think so?
I think most families are like these families.
Oh,
I really do.
Oh my! How do you find them?
Well, there's a whole subculture in America right now of people that want to be on reality television.
Yeah.
And there is a site called Reality Wanted that is the gold standard, but there's a ton of them out there. And if you go on to realitywanted.com, you will see casting listings from Dr. Phil, from the OWN Network, from The Biggest Loser, from Extreme Home Makeover. And so these casting directors at every single network and in every single production company utilize sites like Craigslist and Reality Wanted to post about the shows that they're casting for, and then people submit information and they just interview them. And then they interview them, they then get videos of these people, then producers fly out if you make the short list. And so by the time I show up, I've got a binder that's like this thick.
Like a case study?
Oh, completely. On the family, I've seen video of them.
Do they go through any type of psychological screening? Because
oh, yes.
that one woman who
Which one?
yelled at you, the one who was
She's
offered
very
$100,000.
person, yes.
She yelled at you, she swore at you, she stomped out of the house.
That's great, right?
It was fabulous. But, I mean, did you have to stop the camera and go out and just say,
no.
hey, honey,
we just
come on.
roll. When the guy threatened my life and said I wasn't going to walk out of there, the cameras were rolling.
Were you afraid? At any moment,
Definitely.
do you get afraid?
100%. Well, that was the only moment where things got totally out of control. And I kept saying to myself, don't show reaction, don't show reaction. Because camera's right here, the cops were showing up, there was another camera outside, I've got a guy like poking my chest. And the thing is that having been a public defender and also doing what I've done now for 17 years, which is coaching people,
right.
When somebody gets angry, when somebody threatens you, when somebody starts swearing, you know that you've hit the bullseye.
And that's what you want.
Yes. And what I mean by bullseye is that you've got somebody to give an authentic, emotional reaction where they're now deflecting
right.
and blaming you
right.
instead of taking a step back and saying, wait a minute, why am I so upset? And so I know that I've actually hit the right issue.
Well, I like the fact that you're very touchy with these people. Not only do you, there's a warmth to your voice, but you also put your hand on their shoulder. You hold their hands. It's like you're trying to reinforce the fact that even though they've just lost it in front of the cameras,
right.
It was the right emotional response.
Well, there's a very, you know, what's that cliche? There's a very thin line between love and hate.
Mm-hmm.
And so when people are painful to deal with,
yeah.
So when they're angry, when they're nasty, when they swear at you, it's because they're in pain. And so I use this strategy all the time with people where if they're screaming at me or yelling at me, I just grab them and pull them in.
I think that's why. Has anyone, though, tried to punch you out for doing that?
No. In fact, the guy that threatened my life, within 3 minutes of that scene, he was hugging me and saying that he was sorry for being... And so they of course didn't show that because I'm with these families for 5 days.
You don't live with them?
No, I leave at night, but we shoot for 14 hours every day.
So you have 5 days of 14-hour taping sessions, and you're able to consolidate all that into a half hour.
Yeah, it needs to be an hour-long show. In fact,
really
the feedback is that it just feels way too short. The resolves way too fast. There's so much that you do not see in this show, and it's such a shame because so much work is getting done.
You know what I really would have liked to have seen more of? The Ton-in-Law episode. I mean, she did an about face, and I thought that was so beautiful because when she finally broke down and gave you what you want, and she lost her husband and she was afraid. How much did he weigh? 300 pounds?
He was like over 5, I think. Yeah, he was more, no, he was a lot bigger than what
It was so beautiful. I would have liked to have seen more of her coming around and actually trying to help. Did you ever do a follow-up? Did he ever actually lose any weight?
Oh, he's lost like 60 pounds.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, they're doing dynamite.
That's fantastic. I like the way you take these very unorthodox measures. For example, the vegetarian and the carnivorous mother-in-law and fiance, and how you brought them to a chicken beheading facility.
Yes.
Jennifer just like, okay, I'm out of here. And she walked out. Jen, I don't think they're going to be showing chickens being beheaded.
We went in, but they filmed, but
you actually filmed that?
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm glad you didn't show it.
Yeah, and it was more to shock the son and the mother-in-law.
Yeah.
to understand that this is what, every time you bring chicken into the house or meat into the house, this is what Amy is feeling inside.
Well, the mother-in-law took off. She
Yeah.
wouldn't even.
Yeah.
She wouldn't
No.
even.
And you know, the problem in that family was Amy. It was the vegetarian, because she was so unwilling to actually make any requests, and yet at the same time, because she wasn't making any requests, the whole family was falling apart.
It was brilliant, though, when you gave her the magic markers, and you
Mhm.
no, I thought they were wipe-off magic markers at the end.
Oh, yeah, they were.
Did you know that? That was brilliant, though. She was actually able to write out what she was unable to verbalize. Did they ever clean all that
Yeah,
magic
they got
marker
it all.
up?
Yeah, yeah.
And
We
when
got the
mother-
bleach out.
Oh, they had to use bleach, because
Yeah,
when she used
yeah.
the white vinegar, I'm thinking, I don't think
Yeah,
that's
it
going to
worked.
do it. No, no. And when you gave her the meat to wear around her neck,
Yes, that was a good one.
that was excellent. So I love the unorthodox ways you're
Well, see, what I'm
approaching this.
doing is I'm doing what we call experiential learning. So it's easy to talk,
Right.
but talking doesn't stick. But if you put somebody in a physical experience where emotionally they're impacted, they tend to remember it. And then plus the family has the, remember when we got to the chicken farm? Do I have to put that meat necklace back on you? There's an episode coming up. It's my favorite episode with the Peters. They're in, it's an African-American family just north of LA. They're absolutely awesome. And the grandmother was the chauffeur. She took care of all the kids. She was the receptionist at the hair salon, and she was supposed to be retired. And the married couple was taking advantage of her. And so what I did is one of the measures there that you'll see is we pack the grandmother's car full of all the children's stuff and garbage and stuff. And I bring the married couple in and put on personal assistant t-shirts, and then I make them clean out the car.
Fabulous.
Yes.
It's almost like shock therapy.
It is shock therapy. And in fact, after this show, I want to do a show called Shock Therapy with Mel Robbins.